Okay, hi everyone. We're Team Izesan and we're presenting on innovating for language revitalization in Nigeria. But first, we're going to introduce our team.
Salam and Nacho, Simain Afri. My name is Afri.
Hola, me llamo Michelle. My name is Michelle.
Ndewo, afambo Ijama. My name is Ijama.
Eka son, orúkọ mi ń jẹ́ Taufika, and my name is Taufika.
Okay. So there are over 6,000 languages spoken across the world. Sorry. And if nothing is done to preserve these languages, then UNESCO predicts that half of the world's languages will disappear by the end of the century. And this is a very concerning issue because languages are vital for the spread of knowledge, culture, and ideas. And when we lose language, we lose cultural identity as well as historical, ecological, and cultural knowledge. So our community partner focuses on endangered languages in Nigeria. Nigeria is a very diverse country that is home to over 520 languages. The main three indigenous languages being Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. But many of these indigenous languages risk being endangered because they're not being taught at schools or because they lack written documentation or because of a decline in native speakers. So something that Nigeria is doing to combat this issue is that in 2022, it enacted the National Language Policy, which is a law that promotes the education of mother tongue languages by making them the primary language of instruction in primary schools.
So a little bit more on our community partner. We're partnered with Izesan, which is a language learning platform based in Nigeria. They focus on primary school age students and their platform is being used in schools currently in Lagos and Abuja to teach languages of the student's choice, whether that's but mostly resides around Hausa, Igbo, or Yoruba. It encourages students to speak their native languages, and two events that they are pretty notable for is Izesan Bee, which is a spelling bee in their native languages to encourage students not only to learn their languages, but also be proud and comfortable around speaking and being able to read and et cetera, things like that. And also their No Nigerian Language Left Behind Summit, which is a space where they invite schools, legislators, and other community partners to come to this event and basically stress the importance and celebrate International Mother Tongue Day. And with this project, our main objective is to improve the student experience for Izesan's expansion into Bayelsa and Taraba, which are two more rural states compared to Lagos and Abuja.
So, through increasing awareness, we decided to approach it from a three-step method: to research, to record, and to relay information. First, research. This meant individually sitting down and figuring out which languages were at most at risk and at least risk for being endangered in the states of Bayelsa and Taraba states. This also meant speaking with representatives who are at the forefront of these states and to asking them what they see and what they need to be done in order to prevent these languages from being endangered. Then we take this information and we record it and we apply it to UNESCO's endangered language framework. This meant ranking languages from the most endangered to least endangered in order to figure out what languages needed the most attention quickly. Lastly, to relay this information, what can we do with this information if we don't tell the people who can actually help the problem? This meant relaying this information back to Izesan and its partner workers and allowing them and giving them tips and suggestions on how to implement these endangered languages into the Izesan platform. First, with Bayelsa State, we found out that the top three languages that are at least risk for endangerment are Isan, Urhobo, and Ogbia languages. But along with this, we found out that the language that was most at risk for being endangered all the way to extinction was the language of Ija, which is identified by UNESCO as the most endangered. So much so that they offered a scholarship program to different volunteers and teachers who spoke the language of Ija in order to allow them to teach these in school and outside of school in order to progress the language further.
And for Taraba, for our two main languages that are at least risk of being endangered, we have Mumuye and Jukun, with respectively 400,000 and 100,000 speakers. And then for the one that's at the most risk, we have Njerep, which was proven by UNESCO to be critically endangered in the state.
But In order to see the success in our company, we also wanted to look at the success in competitive companies to see where they failed, where they succeeded, and apply those standards back to Izesan itself. This meant looking at competitors such as Duolingo, a widely successful company for language learning. We decided to see what they wanted to do and what they did do and apply those back to Izesan. That was our competitive analysis aspect. Then, user testing. This meant taking groups of Nigerian students and non-Nigerian students and asking them to use the platform from an unbiased perspective. This way, we could get critical feedback as to what worked, what didn't work, what they wanted to see, what they felt that they needed more of, in order to relay this information back to Izesan to make suggestions for implementation. Lastly, teacher conversations. At the end of the day, teachers are the core of learning. Teachers are the core of primary student learning. So how can we present solutions or present problems without speaking to the people who language is their biggest learning objective, and how they can talk to students and asking them what they wanted to see most so that we can relay this information back to Izesan again. One of the things that we really decided we needed to be adjusted were the audio features on the app, primarily speed control feature. Language is subjective, learning is subjective, pronunciation is subjective. So why do we subject students to learn things and hear things from one way? This meant allowing students to adjust the speed of pronunciation on the app so that they can learn at their own pace. That way, each student can get their own tailored experience using the Izesan platform. Similarly, with the audio feature, we found that there were unreliable recording results. We didn't know where students uploaded their voice recordings to, who was grading it, where it was being graded, and how leniently it was being graded. We wanted to create a more standardized way of applying this information to the website so that every student could have a universal learning language experience.
The second feature that we really wanted to implement were songs and proverbs. This is a suggestion that we got from these teachers that we interviewed. Not only are songs and proverbs widely used in primary school education, they're also an amazing way for students to reliably learn vocabulary. On top of this, students can learn the culture behind the language while also making learning fun. The next and last feature that we wanted to add was conversation practice. Many students who use the Izesan platform, either it's their first time learning formally or they don't have any knowledge about the language at all at first. So we really wanted to give students agency and the ability to practice conversations. As any language learner knows, the best way to proficiently learn a language is to practice, specifically with a native speaker. And so our hope is that with this feature, students could do that outside of the classroom. Here is a Figma representation of all of our new features. It shows a student going from the home platform to the audio speed recorder, the songs and proverbs, and then finally the conversation practice. This was done in Figma, and we hope that Izesan can add this concretely into their own code. So for future steps, after all of this research, ideation, innovation, along with Izesan and its partners, here are the steps that we hope Izesan will take moving forward. The first is to digitize the endangered or high-risk languages in the Bayelsa and Taraba states. The second is to improve on their current features, as well as add the features that we have provided in order to reform the student experience. And then third is to continue increasing awareness about these Izesan platforms through all of the things that we've added and for all that they bring to student and indigenous languages. So, quick raise of hands. Who here is a language learner or knows any other language other than English? We hope that this presentation has been informing and inspiring, and a really quick shout out as well to Mr. Ibitomi, our point of contact, as well as Mr. Nestor and Ms. Penina, who were our regional representatives, and all of the Izesan team. We're really, really thankful. So finally, muchas gracias. ¿Hay algunas preguntas?
But I'm gonna ganadlo.
Dale, no.
I know how to say questions in Yoruba, but Eshegoni. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for this group?
Yeah.
Hi guys, great presentation. My name is Grace. I'm a fourth-year student at the University of Southern California. And I'm just asking, because I am a polyglot, and my minor is in Korean and Mandarin. So just asking, or just curious about like the whole language thing. Are you guys making this product for people who are within like the States? Because, you know, like technology, like how they access the app, you know, if they don't have, you know, technology, internet, or et cetera. So is the app really made for people who are outside those states who want to learn the languages, or kind of for both those inside Nigeria and the diaspora as a whole? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Izesan was primarily made because the founder saw that a lot of Nigerians were not learning their own languages, so it's definitely geared towards primary schoolers in Nigeria. Currently, they have a lot of schools in Abuja, but as mentioned, they're planning to expand to the Bayelsa and Taraba states, and so we hope that with the NLP, the policy that Ijeoma mentioned, there will be increased government support specifically for the access to technology. Right now, Izesan has a website, so most of these would be accessed through laptops. But in the future, they definitely hope to be accessible in other ways.
We can take one more question for this team. And you can also ask them at the gala as well. Okay. Oh, Dr. Bird?
Just a quick research question. In determining how at risk the language was, is the data state specific? Right? Is it possible that a language, I guess what I'm trying to figure out, is it possible that a language can be endangered in one state and not endangered in the adjacent state? How do we, just the state focus, I didn't quite understand how people figured endangerment within what may or may not be a kind of unnatural configuration.
Yeah, I can tackle this. Basically, from what we were given with our task, these are like languages that are like indigenous to both Bayelsa and Taraba. So like they're not really, they may be spoken in other regions, but these are like their native languages. And so like, as we mentioned before, like Nigeria has a lot of languages, but these are just like the ones that are like in their states. So a lot of our research was like talking to the representatives from those areas that know a little bit more about like what their language demographics and stuff like that look like. And so that was kind of like what they gave us of like the information with that. So it's definitely like endangered like in the region that the language is from. And I don't think it's really widespread like languages elsewhere.
Thank you all so much. Another round of applause for this team. I myself am a lover of languages, so this project really made me super excited to just see them grow over this very long time. It's been over 15 weeks, I think, and they've been so passionate for this project, and so I'm just so excited that you guys got to see it. And so the